introduce you to my guest today. Her name is Kathy Slattengren, and she is a parent educator and a coach. She's also the founder of a company called Priceless Parenting that's equipping parents to help them with their children. And I'm actually going to let Kathy talk a little bit about that herself. So can you tell us about what your passions are and how you help parents?
Yeah. Well, I am passionate about parenting, and it started when my husband and I, our kids were young, and we took parenting classes. And our 3-year-old would look us straight in the face and do exactly what she knew she was not supposed to be doing. And we were like, well, it helped me get in touch with my anger, which I did not think I had any anger issues. But I was like, oh, and how are we going to handle this? What are we going to do? And these classes just really gave us a lot of great insights and got us on the same parenting page. So we, in fact, were so passionate about what we were learning. We volunteered to teach parenting classes, and other parents came back with the same kind of results. They're like, wow, this is life changing. One mom said it saved their marriage. Another said it saved her life. And the one who said it saved her life, it was like she was a mom with a newborn plus a 3-year-old. And she thought she was a bad mom because her 3-year-old was doing typical 3-year-old behavior. And she learned that, no, you're doing great. And this is what kids do. So I became passionate about really sharing these parenting approaches with anyone, whoever would like them, which led me to founding Priceless Parenting in 2007. I have a background in software development and then a master's in education. So I wanted to make this information available to whoever wanted. So back in 2007, the first thing I did was created online parenting classes. And then since then, I've added presentations, I've written a book, added articles, there's charts for kids and all sorts of information that hopefully can help parents on Priceless Parenting.
That's amazing. That's a ton of work, and probably your background came in handy in ways that you never imagined using it for, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. That happens for sure.
Well, I'm very impressed with the fact that you took a situation where you've experienced it yourself and actually turned it into a program to help others. So that's quite amazing.
It really is a way to give back. So it's kind of like there's only so much time in a person's life, and what are you going to commit to? And for me, it's been helping parents.
That's awesome. What do you think parents' biggest mistakes are as far as parenting goes?
Well, there's a number of things that we kind of just do, especially if you haven't spent a lot of time thinking about how you're going to parent. For example, like telling our kids what we're going to do instead of guiding them to figuring it out on their own. So like a simple example is if 2 kids are fighting over a toy, kind of a natural reaction might be to tell them, okay, listen, you can have it for 5 minutes, then you're going to have it for 5 minutes. So I just, as a parent, step in and solve it for them, rather than having them do the thinking and saying something like, wow, I see there's one shovel and both of you want it. How are you going to figure out you can both have a chance to use the shovel? And then letting them figure it out. There's a lot of different possible solutions, but every time I jump in as a parent and solve it for them, I'm doing the thinking and I'm reinforcing my own brain cells. But what I really want is my kids doing the thinking. And then anything we do once, it's like, okay, I suppose there are things you could do once that are truly tragic. But the real problem comes in the habits we form, because we don't see how we're sounding to our kids. It becomes such a habit that we just do and say certain things that we repeat over and over and over again. And whatever worse for our kids eventually becomes part of their internal dialogue that they're going to have with themselves. So sometimes parents can get in the habit of just doing a lot of negative statements and commands. And so they're constantly correcting their kids, kind of like the underlying message being, if I don't stay constantly on top of you, I think you're going to mess up. And on top of that, I don't think you can figure this out for yourself. So I'm going to tell you. So you just get in this habit, and you can say the same thing negatively or positively. But sometimes you get in the habit of saying stuff negatively. So for example, I could say to my kid, you're not going outside until you put sunscreen on, versus I could say more positively by saying, feel free to go outside just as soon as you put sunscreen on. Or negatively, if you don't hurry up and get your shoes on, I'm not taking you. Versus positively saying it, I'm leaving in 2 minutes. I'll be happy to take you if you have your shoes on.
Wow. And just
One last example. So I could be negative and say, you're not eating dinner until you wash your hands. Versus, please wash your hands and then join us for dinner. So I've just seen, parents get into certain habits that end up in the long run negatively affecting their relationship with their kids.
As you're speaking, I'm thinking to myself of so many situations where I've used those kind of phrases inadvertently. So it's because I needed to make a decision and felt like you said, if I didn't intervene, something terrible was going to happen. In reality, it probably wasn't, right?
Well, sometimes you do have to, like, your kid's going to run across the street, maybe grab them if the car is coming. So there are moments when we do have to intervene. And there are a lot of times when we could just take a step back and not be commanding our kids. Somehow I think it's natural to feel like if I'm shouting commands, I'm in control and you're going to jump. I'm going to tell you to jump and you're just going to ask me how high and go do it. And it really sets us up for power struggles with our kids, because anytime I'm giving my child a command, they may or may not do it. And then there's just better ways to approach kids.
Yeah, that's gold right there. That is gold. Having older kids, I look back and I think I could have equipped them a lot better. I needed you then, Kathy.
Yeah, parents do take the classes and then say, why didn't I take this years ago? And that's part of the issue. Is I think as a society, we just somehow expect people to know how to parent, or in the just basic relationship skills, which is a lot of what the parenting underlying foundation is. And we don't all get that. And even if we got great if our parents were amazing parents, still things have changed so much since we were kids, that being able to have some training and some reflection on how we want to parent is super helpful.
Yeah, no, that's great. That is great. I think, do you think age-wise there are different levels of allowing them to make decisions? I'm assuming we're kind of talking about younger kids here. And obviously like a 3-year-old can't make those kinds of decisions, but what age do you think you start to equip them with making those decisions?
That's a great point. I think you want your kids making decisions as soon as possible so that they're thinking on their own, because it's not that long before they're in a school situation or a friend situation where you're not around and they're making their own decisions. And so we want them to be capable of thinking for themselves rather than always listening to an external voice.
Yeah.
So sharing control as soon as possible and appropriately. So you kind of want to move your parenting style. In my classes, I teach about kind of 4 different parenting styles. And really it's how much control are we giving? Are we in control? Are they in control? Who's got more control? And then how much guidance are we giving them on the other axis? Either we're doing it all, or, and not really giving them guidance, or we're guiding them to figuring out how to do it on their own.
Yeah, that's great information for sure. Yeah. Well, out of curiosity, I know that you have your parenting classes, but as a children's book author and an illustrator, I like to look at books and I think to myself, are there things that parents can use to kind of help their kids understand even just their emotions that they're experiencing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, their emotions. You can, ask how they think certain characters are feeling and why they think they're feeling that way. How would you feel if you were in a similar situation? To label their feelings. So when they're little, they don't have the vocabulary yet to label feelings and to understand what they're feeling. So, if you see your kid as feet and snarling as they're trying to, get it, well, it looks like you're feeling frustrated when you're trying to zip your jacket. I feel frustrated too when I do things that are hard. So, and then it really is critical that they have this vocabulary for describing their feelings, because those feelings are essential for building relationships. That has pictures, and you can ask your kid how they're feeling right now, so they can kind of get in touch with the different feelings. And then as the kids get older, there's words that give more depth to describing how are you furious, angry, just feeling slightly bugged, just there's a range of feelings we have. And so yes, helping kids think through those and recognize what it feels like in their body. And one last thing I'll say is, I've seen some research showing that even kids at a preschool, anger being one of them, and I think that their feelings are always okay. How we express them may not be okay. Yeah. But saying yes, we have this wide range of emotions. What they really for us, given a situation, and so it's helpful for kids to know that all feelings are okay, but how you express them may or may not be okay.
Yeah. I love that explanation, Kathy. That's fantastic. And I think when we talk about books, a lot of times they just kind of are, we don't think about how we can use them as parents to help kids talk about things that are difficult. So that's fantastic. So out of curiosity, if you had one piece of advice that you could give to parents as to how to help their kids express their emotions, what would that be?
No, that's good. So really reinforcing that everyone has the right to their feeling. So, when kids will say something like, you're stupid, you're a mean mommy, I hate you, hitting, punching, shoving, kicking, all those kinds of things, posting mean comments on social media, those are inappropriate ways of expressing feelings. And so we can always say, acknowledge the child's feelings and then say, the way you do, a kid hits his brother because that brother had taken the truck and he wanted it. I could say, well, it's not okay to hit him. You can tell him you're angry and let him know what you want him to do. I could teach my kid how to do an I feel message, I feel angry, that the whole piece of that, and teach them a better way than just being angry and hauling off and hitting somebody is not the way we want to express our anger. And so working with them, on how they can calm down. There's lots of different techniques for having a child know about the fact that they are getting upset, needs to learn its self-regulation, and ideally they'll have that skill down and be able to calm themselves by the time they're entering kindergarten. Flying off the handle, it's not going to work well in a classroom situation.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. Well, Kathy, that's all the time we have for right now. I'm going to bring you back though later, and I just thank you for your time.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me.